Shabbat Shalom to everybody online. This is the Hebrew Chosen Elect Sabbath service. Shalom to everybody in class. How y'all doing this evening, this morning? Evening, morning. It's all the same for me nowadays. Good, everybody had a good week? Yeah, Colin? Yeah, sound like it, man. We know the Most High. All praise to that. We're going to get back into this devout reason class. We touched on it about a month or so back. To start the class off, could you get me back in chapter 1, verse Haggai 1 and 7.
The book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 7. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways.
Do what?
Consider your ways.
So the Most High is telling us that we got to consider our ways. That's the point of this class. We can sit and we can go into it and we can reflect and see that we're considering our ways and that we're making sure that we're keeping the right ways. That our reasoning and our mind state is in the place that they need to be here in these last days. And then also with coming up on Hanukkah, this whole lesson is based around the story basically of the events that led up to the Hanukkah, the rededication of the temple. And it's a main point in this lesson to look and examine the mind states that our forefathers and one of our foremothers was in when it came to not following the ways of the heathen and the lengths that they were willing to take because of the reasoning that they had in their mind, because of what they believed in and what they was going to follow to the death.
Good.
So from there, let's start off by going to that account. I want to start this lesson off by going into 2 Maccabees, chapter 6. Start with the story of Eleazar. And it starts at
18.
18 times.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abominations, spit it forth.
Hold on, he was willing to what? He was willing
but
to
he,
die, right?
choosing rather to die gloriously.
Choosing rather to die. So if you're not familiar with the story and the history during the time of the Maccabees, the Greeks, and I believe it was King Antiochus, was forcing the Jews to not keep the laws. He was forcing the Jews to eat things that are abominable, to not circumcise their children, everything that would take them away from the Most High. This is what this wicked Greek king, Edomite king, was doing to our forefathers and our foremothers, to our people back in the times of the Maccabees. So they were going from city to city, compelling the Jews to eat swine. And if we wouldn't eat the swine, we wouldn't give in to their demands and break the laws of the Most High and turn from our God, they would put us to death. So this man, one of our forefathers, an aged man, brought up in the laws, understanding the laws, cleaving to the Most High, he took it upon himself. He decided, I'm going to die instead of eat swine. And then you look at our people today, we can't give up holidays. We can't give up cigarettes. We can't give up, basic, easy things that we can just put away. We can't give them up. But our forefathers and our foremothers, they was willing to die not to transgress against the Most High.
Slakia. And he was willing to die not to eat swine's flesh alone. And our people, we just dying for these holidays to eat some damn chitlins. You know what I mean? It's disgusting. He was willing to put his life on the line just to stand for the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. And now we like, oh man, the Most High made this clean. We're going to say, hey, we're going to eat these booty noodles. This is just a shame, where we stand at today. And we look at the search of our fathers and what he did to show how glorious it was to stand for the Most High's laws. It's a damn shame.
Also, what's our people's favorite religion other than Christianity? It's Islam, right? In the religion of Islam, the Quran, it'll tell you that if it tells you don't eat swine, but then it turns around and it'll give you reasons that you can eat swine. If you're hungry enough, the Quran, I don't know if everybody knows it, but if you're hungry enough, in the Quran it says you can eat that swine. You can eat pig if you're hungry enough. At the same time telling you it's not lawful, then it gives you permission that if you're hungry enough and you ain't got nothing else, then it'll be forgiven. You can eat it.
Good.
But we see our people, we wasn't dealing with that. We was dealing with the Most High, following his ways and unto death. We wasn't giving into that. It doesn't matter if you're hungry. You keep these laws, statutes, commandments till the end. That's what it means to endure to the end. Ain't nobody compelling you to walk a mile in the ways of the heathen. We're sticking to the course and keeping the ways of the Most High. That's why during COVID, that's why the Israelites, we wasn't taking the test.
Good.
If you're going to take my job from me, then so be it. The Most High give me another one.
Good.
We're not taking the jab. We're not doing what just because we're told. If it goes against the ways of our Father. And that's how we got to be in these last days. Enduring to the end. Not being moved by even death. Or threats of loss of job or money or income or worldly things. Because we're not in love with the world.
Good.
We're searching for the treasures in heaven. And sometimes that means taking losses.
Good.
Sometimes that means dealing with afflictions and sufferings. Let's get that 2 Corinthians 6 and 4 real quick. Because to do this, to do the Most High's work, to be on his side and not on the side of the world, it ain't going to be an easy walk. That's why some of the virtues are patience, endurance, discipline, temperance. Because all these things are set up against sufferings, afflictions. To have these things, to exercise these things, they have to go against something. That means you have to go through things where you have to exercise. The only way you can exercise temperance is to be in a position to make you not to lose your temper. To lose your temperance. That's when you act out your temperance. When it's going against a negative. Go ahead if you got that.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 4. But in all things, approving ourselves as the ministers of Yahweh in much patience, in afflictions, in necessities, in distress, in stripes, imprisonments, in tumults, in labors, in watchings, in fastings, by pureness, by knowledge, by long suffering.
By what?
By long suffering.
As we see here, this is going down a whole long list of things that are uncomfortable. Right? Things that you just don't want to walk. You don't wake up and want to suffer. You don't wake up and what else is on that list?
By kindness.
Afflictions. You don't want to wake up and endure afflictions. You didn't wake up this morning and say, man, I really hope that I get afflicted today. I hope I get in a car crash. Or I hope that I fall down the steps and break my ankle. You don't hope for these things. But to prove yourself in the Most High, you have to endure all these things. And that's what we're reading about back in the time of the Maccabees and the time of the Greeks. Our forefathers and foremothers, they had to endure afflictions, sufferings. Everything we just read that Paul just went down, they had to endure these things just to keep the ways of the Most High. Just to show themselves approved.
Good.
You have to endure afflictions. You have to exercise long-suffering and discipline in the face of death evil. So let's go back to, drop that, let's go back to
the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 18. Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man, and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh. But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came of his own accord to the torment.
See that we already seen about the reasoning that we're supposed to have. Eleazar said he'd rather die glorious. It's a glorious thing to laugh in the face of the devil and take death over giving into his ways. That's a glorious death.
God.
And to give into that, it's a stain. To give in to being forced to do against our God is a stain. And it's not going to get us a crown. It's not going to be, okay, you know, you had to do what you had to do. You know, it's okay. You gave up keeping my days. You went back into the world. You went back into Christmas. Your mom compelled you to do it. She made you feel bad. You was just trying to honor thy father and mother. No. The hell with the world's holidays.
God.
And the reason I say that is because, and probably everybody here has seen, at least seen one or two people, but even Israelites, they posted pictures at their family's house, and this so happens to be yesterday or the day before. And then somebody will say, yeah, looks like you're celebrating Thanksgiving. I was just visiting my parents. You was just visiting your parents, having their whole holiday meal. Just because you walked over there and you said, yeah, I'm not celebrating, I don't believe in this. But you taking part in all the actions, you celebrate. It's just like our people in Islam, they say, yeah, I don't worship a rock. Yeah, I got to go once in my life to Mecca and circle it 7 times and bow down to the prayer. I'm not worshiping it. It's just a practice that we do. It's just a part of the belief and the acts. Yeah, it's a part of, now you're worshiping a rock.
Yep. That's
because you decided to pick up the Quran and you didn't read Daniel, where our another set of our forefathers said, to hell with that. I'm going to go get cast in the fire, then so be it. I'm not going to bow down to something that's man-made.
God, that's right.
But our people today do it. Our people today go to their family members' house during the wicked holidays, eat the food, eat the greens, take the plate home, take enough home to last for a couple of days, and then turn around and say, yeah, but I don't celebrate it. You're taking part of their rituals. You're taking part of that celebration. If you're taking part of the act, you're believing it.
Slock it. And just to land me off back with the brother saying, like, you sitting down and you celebrating all these holy days, and all these holy days is a tribute to another god. Even Thanksgiving, you know, it's a harvest god behind Thanksgiving called Sariella. So it's several Thanksgivings that happen too. So you giving praise to another god doing that, you breaking the first commandment right there, and you serving these other gods. But let alone that, Jake sitting down, you feasting to everything, so you serving your own belly as well. And the scriptures tell you not to do that. So you serving your own belly, feasting to all these different holy days and holidays and different gods.
And I'm going to get that real quick.
And you being a glutton.
I'm going to get that scripture real quick. Real quick, Philippians 3:19. Because what you said, serving your own belly. That's what people do. Because you know the right way. You keep the Most High's holy days. Some of our people keep the Most High's holy days, but then at the same time, nobody's looking with the excuse, with a cover of, oh, I'm just, my family got together. There's 52 Saturdays in the year, but and most people are off on Saturday. Yeah, everybody was off that day. You know, everybody's off 52 other days out the year. Most people are off Saturday. And you know, if everybody can't get together on one of them, then, you know, this ain't meant to be. See them separately. But our people will keep the Most High's holy days and then keep the world's holy days, folly days. The world's folly days is the same token in time because they're doing what he just said. They're serving your own belly. And so let me read that real quick. I'm going to start 18 actually. For Philippians 3, verse 18. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, and now tell you even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Christ. And you know, this is kind of reflecting what we just read about our forefather Eleazar, said that he chose the glorious death rather than to live stained with such an abomination. We're pretty much reading the same thing here. These people walk and that they are enemies of the cross of Christ, whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly.
That's right.
And whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. And that's what our people do. Their God is their belly. And when you do those things, you're serving your belly as well, because that's all your flesh telling you that you can do both. One foot in, one foot out. You just want to have a good time. You want to get around. You really miss the old ways. You really miss hanging out with that family. It's all about Christmas and Thanksgiving and celebrating everything that you know is wrong. You really kind of miss it deep down. So we go back to it to serve our belly. Instead of just serving the Most High, yeah, well, I kind of got this hunger to be around, my folks, man. I miss them. I miss the get-togethers on the holiday. I'm going to say I just don't believe the reason. It's a good time to get together. It's all folly and madness. You're still taking part, so you're still believing. You can't separate the two like that.
And like you said, the glory is in your shame. You celebrating these holidays, and you sitting there, you stuffing yourself. You gaining all this weight from sitting there eating all this food, to sacrifice the idols and stuff. Your glory is in your shame. You pass your glory on to other gods. Go ahead.
Yeah. You finished?
Yeah.
Well, if you want, you can get it. 1 Corinthians 10 and 20 and 21.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
The book of 1 Corinthians 10, 20, and 21.
Hey, here talking. Listen up. Listen up.
This goes right along with it.
Because you don't want to find yourself just doing things and you don't know why. Then you just like Christian kids. I was just raised to be a Christian. See, that's why that's the benefit, and that's what makes what we do different from the church and what the Most High wants. You're here, you learn here. The Bible's coming out. Why you do what you do is coming out in these classes. You guys can't be over there talking. You need to be attentive and learning why it is you do the things you do. You're learning, you're molding your reasoning right now. Train up a child in the way they should go, right. They will not go off. So everybody needs to be at attention when these classes are coming out, when wisdom is coming out. But especially y'all got young minds that can be molded. And you have to go out in the world and school and really battle more than we do. We're adults. We can look at somebody and they'll leave us alone. People look at us a lot of times at our jobs and they don't really question. They just be like, oh, I don't think he don't seem like somebody really, I'm gonna leave him be. Stuff like that. You guys got to deal with the madness, the jokes, the cats trying to peer pressure you. So y'all need to pay attention. Go ahead with that.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils.
See, and that's what Thanksgiving is. That's what Christmas is. This is basically worshiping devils. And you go in there, you're giving your time, your money, you're giving sacrifices. You're giving spiritual sacrifices. Because it ain't the times where you would take an actual animal and slay an animal and say, yeah, this is for you, whoever. You're giving spiritual sacrifices, taking part in these holidays. So you can't read that again.
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God.
Not to God. So this is why you're not walking to the same drum as your classmates. You're not walking to the same drum as other teenagers. Because their parents, they don't know no better. And they're learning the same way we did. You have the benefit that you're being taught from the beginning, the difference of serving God and serving the devil. In these folly days, that's of the devil. Eating swine, that's of the devil. You can't sacrifice the devil and then also take part in serving God. Go ahead.
And I would not
yeah, I just want to make a point, because like what he's saying about the holidays of the world, when people say they give thanks to God, you got to remember the Most High said he hates the world, right? So anything in the world, if you're giving thanks to God, when you say, when all people pray, when they say that, the Most High is not hearing those prayers. They're giving thanks to what the nation sacrificed to. They sacrifice to their idols, which are demonic forces.
Good.
So when they say they give thanks, and everybody had a Thanksgiving dinner and they prayed over it and all that stuff, well, that prayer is going to Satan. That's not going to the Most High. The Most High don't deal with that. That's why the nation sacrifice, they sacrifice to the devil, to the idols, which are demonic spirits. So we got to remember that. So when you say you want to go to a Thanksgiving dinner with your family, even though you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, you got to remember when they're giving thanks and they're praying, who are they praying to? And you're sitting amongst them, right? And you don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but you're sitting amongst them. So that's why the next verse he's going to read, he's going to say the ones who partake, right? You're partaking to a holiday that they're giving thanks to Satan. And you just got to remember that, right? Go ahead, Al.
I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
How about that? If I say that again?
I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
So don't say that you're going to go to celebrate a Christmas holiday or Thanksgiving holiday is just for the children. I know the Most High ain't about this holiday, but I'm going to still go partake and have fellowship with them. Okay, go ahead, Al.
Ye cannot drink the cup of Yahweh and the cup of devils. Wow. Ye cannot be partakers of Yahweh's table and of the table of devils.
So what does that sound like the Most High is saying? Yahweh is saying. You cannot sit at the table. Right? You cannot sit at the same table and have fellowship or partake in the Thanksgiving dinner, even though you don't believe in it. Because there's worshiping of Satan. Yeah.
Verse 22. Yeah. Do we provoke Yahweh to jealousy? Are we stronger than he?
Right.
Provoking Most High. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we can't. So that means you can't say I'm going to see my family. You didn't go see your family all year.
Right.
You pop up on holidays. No other day. You're doing exactly what the scripture's saying. You're trying to take part, but you're provoking the Most High to jealousy.
Precept. Proverbs 28 and 9.
Mm-hmm. You make a read. You got it?
Yeah, bring it up.
Read it out loud. Yeah.
Real quick.
Proverbs 28 and 9 reads, he that turn away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination.
Yeah. And that's a good scripture. That's exactly what our people are doing when they do that. They're turning away from the law. That's talking about hearing the law, but that's what they're doing because they know the law, but they still go to the family member's house. Yeah. They're turning away from it. And then at the folly day, they send their prayers up. Yeah. They get in the circle, they hold hands, they sing Kumbaya, and they, and they do acts as if they're serving God, but they're serving devil.
Hey, when you finish, I just want to give an example. When you finish that.
Oh, go ahead. I'm going to go to a scripture.
Yeah, but one time I went, this was years ago. I don't do it now, no more. That's what taught me not to go and partake in the Thanksgiving with my family and stuff. My family had Thanksgiving dinner. This was had to be over 20, 30 years ago. Probably 30 years ago. Right? Yeah, probably over 30 years ago. But they called my family to come to a Thanksgiving dinner. But I knew the truth. But I was saying, let me just go, it's my family, let's go to Thanksgiving. And, I wasn't, of course, really serving Thanksgiving and really serving that philosophy, right? That idol madness, right? So I went, but they asked me to say the prayer. Oh, now I'm in conflict now, right? Because they had shrimp on there, they had pork, they had everything, right? And I wasn't going to eat none of that stuff, but still, they had all crazy. I said, what the hell? So now, they're all at the table, big long table, everybody's around, they're going to ask me, because I didn't expect it. I threw me off guard. Right. And I see, that's what the Most High was, see, that's the repercussion. The Most High said, see? Right. Now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Put you right on the spot.
I said, look, I told, it was my sister's husband at the time. He asked me, as one of them asked me. Well, he didn't ask me, but I think one of my family members asked me, could I say the prayer? But I said, look, I can't say the prayer because, you know, there's things at the table that is against the Most High, and, you know, I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Yeah.
So my sister's husband said, look, you can't say the prayer. And he reached over to my plate and took my plate and said, don't eat that.
What?
It's like that.
Dang.
I'm telling you.
Dang.
He said, don't eat. Oh, man.
Oh, man. That was,
so you know what went through my mind,
Yeah,
right?
right?
I was like, maybe I should.
Again.
But I had my whole family there. I said, maybe I should just get up and leave. I said, but I can't do it. I said, I still can't do it. You don't have to eat, but I still can't do it.
Right.
And somebody else did the prayer. I didn't do it.
Wow.
So I just sat there. I said, okay. And I was tempted to leave, but I didn't leave. But still, but after that, you know, I meditated on the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then those scriptures started coming to me just like that.
I got you.
That's
I got you.
yeah, 1 Corinthians 10:21. You can't partake in it because you're gonna be put on the spot.
Yeah.
And it's gonna that conflict, you know what I'm saying, is gonna
With
be
your
in you.
spirit,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna hit your spirit. You can't do it. So I just want to get that example, man.
Listen, that the Spirit brought that out.
Yeah.
And some people, though, a lot of people, they would have folded to that.
Yeah.
They would have been like, all right, I'll say the
All
prayer.
right,
Let me eat.
right. Come on, man.
That's a low level of death, though. Of
Yeah.
threatening the death. That's not threatening the death, but that's, you get that reaction.
Yeah.
Some people gonna fold to that. They're gonna, I can't take the heat like that.
Right.
I can't take the rejection, the shame. I can't do it. Just partake. It's all right. Most I gonna understand. He sees what I'm going through, man. They look at me crazy, man. and then, but for you, the scriptures started coming in.
Yeah.
The Most High, he had to show them. He was like, and
That
that's
was
exactly
right.
what happened.
They try to break you.
Yeah, that demon tried to. Yeah, that's how I looked at it. You got to meditate on that thing and like look at the whole picture of it.
Yeah.
And the Most High showing you can't partake and even fellowship with idol philosophy, idol gods. You can't fellowship with them.
Because it'll always manifest.
Yeah.
That the scripture said that I came not to Christ said that he came to bring the vision. The mother against the daughter, father against son is going to manifest. Because we're reading it. We're reading it. And our forefathers, they wasn't for that. They had all faith, and it showed by your work, showed your faith. I'm going to get that. James chapter 2, verse 18. Because your works show your faith. So when you say that you serve the Most High, but you go to serve these other holidays or give in to the ways of the heathen, anything that goes against the Most High because you was compelled to do it, you're now doing works. And your works are showing what? Your works are showing what your faith is really in.
I got another example when you get it.
Okay, real quick, and then I'll
I
hand
got
it
one
over.
more example.
So this is a classic. Everybody knows it, but let's get it. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works.
Right.
So the Christianity teaches us different, but we know here in the truth, and us that actually study the Bible, they go hand in hand. So, and your works that you do, they bring out what your faith is in.
Good.
So that's not just on the right-hand side with, I show my faith by my works. See, I do the works of the Most High, but then you turn around, you do still on the back end doing the works of the world, and you're actually showing that, okay, my faith ain't really with the Most High. It's something that, it might just be a phase I'm going through. Or I might be young and have to learn. Like, you know, what you brought out. I might have to get that, the Most High might have to send that spirit to check me. And then, okay, I come like, yeah, we can't. It's either or though. So you're going to see by your works. Am I going to see that, okay, I can't do this because the Spirit just showed me that? Or are you going to continue to do it? Or are you going to fold maybe? Or whatever. Your works, they're always going to show what your faith is in. So you show some works that are showing that you ain't quite there with the Most High. He's going to send that check to see if you're going to get right or not. Then your works are going to show in that too. Are you going to get right? Are you going to stop coming around trying to take part in both? Or are you going to try to like weasel around and find ways to keep on doing both? Keep on having one foot in and one foot out. And back to you. That's all.
Yeah, this is another time, right? The first one was about over 30 years ago. But this one was about maybe 25, whatever. But it was the last time I went to a so-called Thanksgiving dinner with my family, right? This was the last time, right? But I ended up going again. I don't know, I guess I didn't learn that first time. I just told y'all, but I ended up going again. And this was Thanksgiving, but that was the last time. That was it. And this was in Maryland, right? And they had a Thanksgiving dinner, so they invited the family. But you know, and they didn't even know I don't celebrate it, right? But they're still gonna invite you, right? So I went, took the whole family, everything, and they had like a small garage or whatever where they were doing all the serving. Everybody would go in there, and they had the tables and everything. But the closer we came out the car and everything. We went to walking towards this garage, and the closer we got, I started smelling something that wasn't right, and I said it was a foul odor, right? I said, "What the hell is that?"
Roast pig.
Well, yeah, but the intestines, right? So I said, "What the hell is that?" So I think it was one of my sons, or it might have been my daughter. One of my sons and my daughter said, "Daddy, somebody, like messed on themselves." Yeah, messed on themselves. I said, "No, that's chitlins." I said, "Look, when you go in here, don't eat nothing, no pork, no nothing." But the thing is, it overtook the whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know how chitlins is, right?
Right. Yeah.
It overtook the vibration, the whole atmosphere. It took the whole thing over. Now, to the ones who, of course, are in the, that are in the world and are used to it, to them they didn't mind. They probably didn't even smell it.
Right. Yeah.
But to you, I smelled it from coming out the car.
Right.
I said, "What the hell is that? What the hell am I walking into?" So sure enough, as soon as you go in there, it took over, the smell just took over the whole thing. And this was, we're sitting there trying to, mingle and talk and have a conversation, but you couldn't do it.
That stench was there.
That stench was there.
Yeah.
So, of course, they had turkey and stuff and other food, but now you don't want to eat that. And my children didn't want to eat. I didn't want to eat. You know what I'm saying? I might have just drunk some juice. Maybe had a piece of turkey, but I said, "Damn." So I said, "What's the Most High trying to show me here?" And from that point on, I said, "That's the last one, man." And it was so foul.
Yeah.
I said, "There's no way I can do this ever again, man."
Right.
From that point on, that was the last one. But you can't fellowship with them because the Most High is going to show you don't belong here.
Right.
Get out of here. You don't belong here. And that's what it was, man.
God.
And I smelled that thing as soon as I got the car. So again, you can't partake what's out in the world, man. It's just you got to stay away from it.
Can we get that? I got a precept. 2 Corinthians 6:14.
Go ahead, bring it over.
Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
Right.
For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness?
Right.
And what communion hath light with darkness? And what concord hath Hamashiach with Belial? And what part hath he that believeth with an infidel?
Right.
So
We shouldn't be around that, right?
and Belial represents all these false gods.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So yeah, behind every holiday is a false god. So what fellowship do Yahweh have with any of these false gods?
And you feel it. Because if you're spiritual, once you get spiritually mature, you can feel them demons coming on you. And them demons are about dirtiness. right? Foul odors and stuff like that. Those are all demons, man.
Right.
I said, what the hell is that smell? It's nothing but chitlins, man. And you know how chitlins smell. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, so we can go back. Back to the Maccabees.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 19. But he choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination, spit it forth, and came of his own accord to the torment, as it behooved them to come that are resolute to stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted. But they,
Not lawful for what?
as it behooved them to come, they are resolute and stand out against such things as are not lawful for love of life to be tasted.
So what's the scriptures telling us? That even in the face of death, it's not lawful for the love of life. Now we're actually seeing what Christ is talking about when he said, love not your life. He wasn't saying like, just wake up and just look at yourself and be like, man, I hate me. It's the love of life. You're willing to do things that go against the Most High just to live, just to be comfortable. That's the love of life. So it's letting us know that some things are not lawful even for that. It's letting us know that the Quran is BS, man. In case we didn't already know. Because even the Quran, what's it tell us?
Till you satisfied.
But no, it tells us follow the Bible.
Oh yeah, it said follow Torah.
Right?
And the prophets.
And the prophets. And what are we reading here? It's telling us that it's not lawful to eat even if you're starving.
That's right.
Swine.
Or even to save your life.
To save your life. It's not lawful. Go ahead.
But verse 21. But they that had the charge over that wicked feast.
And real quick, this is important in this devout reasoning. These stories are supposed to sit in your mind. This is how you reason things. When things come that are going to try you, you remember these stories. You remember these accounts. You remember the laws, but then you also remember these accounts because you can see people actually having to do it. And that they was able to conquer that fear and those spirits. Go ahead. Sit down.
But they that had the charge of that wicked feast, for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king.
So they were trying to compel him to. Now they want him to fake it, so that everybody else will see him. Why? So that everybody else will see him do it, then they'll do it. So we're going. Let me ask y'all. What should he do here? What do you think he did?
Ezekiel.
He did. You think he didn't eat it? Why not? It wasn't swine. They said he can just eat his own meat.
They says, yeah, he can have his steak. You pretend it was the swan.
I'll give you the answer. Y'all know why?
Y'all know why?
Philippians, I think it's 2:15. Pure blameless.
Huh.
Yeah. Philippians 2:15. That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and a perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world. That's why. Our elder wasn't going to put on an act and make it seem like he was breaking the commandments, even though he really wasn't, just because it was going to save his own life. Our elder was going to appear blameless to be an example in the strength of the younger men, or the strength of the weaker older men. He was going to be that example and be blameless. That's how we have to be. That way we be the sons of God and we shine as lights in the world.
Right.
That's how you shine as a light in the world. It ain't just walking around with our fringes on. Oh, it's something different about him. No, it's being really 10 toes down. You're not folding.
Good.
When it comes to the time where somebody's going to try you to see if you're really about what you're about, you're staying true to it. That's shining as a light in the world. And that's what our elder was doing. He wasn't about to take any steaks and lambs and pretend it was pork either. Because that it's not, it's going to harm the weaker brothers and sisters, or the younger brothers and sisters, because now they're going to think it's okay. No, we can't do that. Go ahead, back to the...
Consulate, and it was an example of him taking the oversight. You know, he was leading by example. So he did that. He wasn't going to pretend so that the younger men would follow behind that folly and do it, because that's what they was trying to do, convince the younger men to do it. So if it comes down to it, and you an older child, you gotta lead by the example so the younger children don't do it too. It works like that with y'all too as well.
Yeah. Because it says, don't let your good works be evil spoken of.
Right.
So even if he didn't eat the pork, the appearance of it to the congregation would have made it seem like he was eating pork, even though he knows he didn't eat it. But now, what's the congregation going to say? Well, this man, in all his good works, now he's eating pork. Mm-hmm. See? But secretly, he didn't do it. But all the enemy wanted was what? To make it appear like he did, so he can get the congregation to start doing it. And that's a wicked thing, man. That's a wicked thing. Right?
Definitely. You got anything else?
No, that's
all
it.
Right, let's go.
But they that had charge of that wicked feast for the old acquaintance they had with the man, taking him aside, besought him to bring flesh of his own provision, such as was lawful for him to use, and make as if he did eat of the flesh taken from the sacrifice commanded by the king, that in so doing he might be delivered from death, and for the old friendship with them find favor.
What verse is that?
22. We're in 2 Maccabees 6:22.
22, right.
Yeah, so he was friends with some of these Gentiles too, and the Gentiles loved him, and they was trying to save his life, but he was like, nah, I'm not even going to pretend it for y'all, because he was old friends with them. He was of an old acquaintance with them as well, and they wanted to save his life too, because he found favor with them. You know what I mean? So he wouldn't even do it just because he found favor with them either. You know what I mean? So he wasn't trying to seek the favor of the nations. You know what I mean? So that's like not budgeting to keep one of these holidays or something. Oh, we're not going to do this Valentine's Day to seek favor with y'all. We're not going to do this Christmas to seek favor with y'all.
Right.
You know, he didn't bend. You know what I mean? He didn't break. None of that. You know what I mean? He was going to keep the laws. He wasn't going to pretend to not keep the laws.
With the partaking of the holidays.
You
don't celebrate it, but you're fellowshipping with them, so you appear.
Right.
Even though you're not eating none of the stuff and the food and stuff, but you appear to be a partaker of it. So this same brother was saying, I'm not even going to appear, even though I'm not going to really eat the pork, but I'm not going to appear like I'm going to eat it, just so because the enemy wants the congregation to see me as if I am eating it. So that's a wicked thing. So the same thing when you go on a holiday trip with your family. Understand? It's the same difference.
So like even at my job, like I might have to prepare a holiday meal because it's my job. I don't get up there and serve that. I tell them straight up, I don't do this. You know what I mean? I'm not going to serve it to you. I'm not going to act like I'm cool with it. I'm not going to sit there and stand there and give it to y'all because I'm not going to be a partaker of this. You know what I mean? I'll stand on that because I'm not going to do it. And then if they want to get down to the law with it, their law with it, I bring up the EOCC Civil Rights Act because you're not going to make me do it. You know what I mean? You got to stand 10 toes down like that out in the world. Even if you're in your classroom, you tell them your family don't get down like that. And if you have to, walk out the classroom, tell them to call your parents.
But you just said something though. You brought out to them the what? EOC?
The EOCC 1963 Civil Rights Act.
That's something that you can already. Proverbs 22:3 says, "The prudent foresees the evil and avoids it."
That's right.
So how did he foresee the evil and avoid it? He knew that these circumstances would come up. But I know that I have certain legal rights. So let me go investigate and find out and get what I need. That way when it comes up, they really can't say nothing. So now I can say no in their face, and then I can pull out their own laws and say, well, I can say no. That's how you look out for yourself. By being wise, by being smart. Because if you don't do that, and then the threat is death, or the threat is lose your job, well, just listen what you're going to do. you can't give the appearance of evil. So if you want to look out for yourself, be prudent. Think ahead. Figure out which your rights is and have that ready. Because when the time comes to keep the laws of God, keep the laws of God.
That's right.
So, hey, this is all part of your reasoning. You should be thinking. The Most High loved David. Why? Who knows why the Most High loved David? As he moved in wisdom. As he was wise. But go ahead, you had a point?
Yeah, 1 Thessalonians 21 and 22. Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good, abstain from the appearance of doing evil.
That's right.
And the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray Yahweh, the whole spirit, your whole spirit and soul and body will be preserved blameless until the coming of the Lord or Yahweh.
Yeah, you know, he's right, because that's a good scripture. The appearance of evil is sometimes worse than doing evil. Right? Because now the congregation looks at you as partakers of that particular evil that you're doing. And now you didn't really do that evil, but that's the appearance. And now that sticks with you, that stays with you. And you don't want that on you.
Denies faith to have its perfect work.
Right.
Because they don't see faith in action.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, go to 1 Samuel 18:14. Just real quick on the point I just made, because I quoted the scripture. It's important we get it. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 14, I say. And it says, and David behaved himself wisely in all his ways.
All his ways.
And the Most High was with him. You see that? So if you want to protect yourself, use wisdom. Behave yourself wisely.
In all your ways.
In all your ways. Because even David, now I'm not going to get this scripture, but even David, he came to a king, one of the kingdoms while he was on the land. He came to a kingdom, and he seen it wasn't a good situation. And what did he do? He pretended to be mad. He pretended to be crazy. So the king, what did he do? He sent him away. He said, do I want another madman in my court or something to that effect? So David was behaving wisely. Not out of fear, out of wisdom. He seen that the situation wasn't right, and he used wisdom to get out of it. So a Christian might say it's okay to lie. David lied. He wasn't really crazy. And that's the simple mind, right? But back to, we can go back now.
The book of 2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 23. But he began to consider discreetly, and as became his age, and the excellency of his ancient years, and the honor of his gray head whereon was come, and his most honest education from a child, or rather the holy law made and given by Yahweh. Therefore he answered accordingly, and willed them straightways to send him to the grave.
Go ahead.
For it becometh not our age, said he, in any wise to disassemble, whereby many young persons might think that Eleazar, being 80 years old and 10.
This is the mindset we gotta have. This is our reasoning that we gotta have. Keep going.
Were now gone to a strange religion. And so they, through mind hypocrisy.
Strange religion, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's,
strange, right?
Easter.
They're all strange.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And desire to live a little time and a moment longer should be deceived by me, and I get a stain to mine old age and make it abominable.
Make it what?
Abominable.
See, 70 years of living righteous, that one act. Man, now you're abominable.
He was 90.
90, now I'm abominable. Nah, it can't be. Go ahead.
For though, for the present time, I should be delivered from the punishment of men, yet should I not escape the hand of the Almighty, neither alive nor dead. Wherefore, now manfully changing this life, I will show myself such a one as mine age requires, and leave a notable example to such as the young to die willingly and courageously for the honorable and holy laws. And when he had said these words, immediately he went to the torment.
Hey, go ahead.
They that led him, changing the good, will they bear him a little before into hatred, because the foresaid speeches proceeded as they thought for a desperate mind. But when he was ready to die with stripes, he groaned and said, it is manifest unto Yahweh that have the holy unto Yahweh.
So he, even in this time, in these torments, he knew that the Most High, he sees him, he's his protector, he's his rock, his defense, and all these things. Go ahead.
That have the holy knowledge, that whereas I might have been delivered from death, I now endure sore pains in body by being beaten, but in soul am well content to suffer these things, because I fear him.
See, our elder had the same mind as David. This is the reasoning you got to have. You got to know that in the face of death and torments, that the Most High, he's there. He said he got you back, and he got you back. I've been living according to the Most High, so he's with me, even through this. So you suffer these afflictions, calling on the name of the Most High. Let's go to Psalms 118 and 5 real quick. See the mind state that the elder had, being faced with tortures and torments. And put to death for keeping the Most High's laws happily.
The book of Psalms, chapter 118, verse 5. I called upon Yahweh in distress. Yahweh answered me and set me in a large place.
Go ahead.
Yahweh is on my side.
You got to always have that mind state. Yahweh's on my side. No matter what I'm going through, Yahweh's on my side. I lost my job, Yahweh's on my side.
Good.
My car broke down and I can't afford to fix it, Yahweh's on my side.
Good.
And I still owe $10,000 on it. Yahweh's on my side. My mom died, Yahweh's on my side. Any type of afflictions you go through, you got to have that mind state. Yahweh's on my side. If I don't get the jab, I can't come back to work. Yahweh's on my side.
Good.
It's always got to be. That's got to be the mind state. Go ahead.
Yahweh is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do unto me?
Back to drop that. Back to Second Maccabees.
Second Maccabees chapter 6, verse 31. And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage.
His death is a what?
A noble courage.
But a what?
A noble courage.
An example.
And a memorial.
His death, leaving his death as an example of a noble courage. So then we got to follow this. He didn't die in vain. He left his death as an example of how you got to carry yourself in the face of all the haters, all the adversaries, all the threats. When it looks bad, like it ain't never going to go right, you got to keep the same mind state. You got to act out the same acts. Go ahead.
And thus this man died, leaving his death for an example of a noble courage and a memorial of virtue, not only unto young men, but unto all his nation.
So we got to follow in his footsteps. Keep reading chapter 7.
Verse 7. Chapter 7, verse 1.
We're going to go through this is because these are the situations that led up to Hanukkah. You got to know why you're celebrating Hanukkah. Hanukkah is coming up in 2 weeks. We got to know how Hanukkah came about. We got to know the acts, the sufferings that our people went through. We got to know it and see all of it. That way we're not like our people that's stuck in the world, just following whatever. You got to know. And then you got to take it in as that example like we just read. In the ways that we're to carry ourselves. Go ahead.
It came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh.
So now he's got a whole family. He done got Eleazar out the way. He didn't want fold. Oh, now I got these boys and their mama. I bet I could break them. Let's see.
And were tormented with scourges and whips. But one of them...
Tormented with what?
Scourges and whips.
Go ahead.
But one of them that spake first said, Thus, what wouldest thou ask of or learn of us? We are all we are ready to die, rather than to transgress the laws of our fathers.
Once again, we standing firm. Keep beating us. It wasn't no call your name's Toby boy in this matter. My name ain't Toby. Go ahead.
Then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, which forthwith, being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the utmost parts of his body, the rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire, and to be fried in a pan. And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, The power of Yahweh looketh upon us, and in truth have comfort in us, as Moses in his song, which witness to their faces declared, saying, And he shall be comforted in his servants. So when the first was dead, after this number, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock.
Real quick, what else can we pick up from this story? Go to Sirach 12 and 10. Sirach 12 and 10.
Yeah, I just want to bring right out in Revelation.
Okay. Let me get this real quick, and then we'll go there. I'll read it. Sirach 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Correct. Now, why did I bring that out? Because what did we read just above about the elder Eleazar? These cats was his friends. Or they said they claimed to be his friends or whatever. His Edomite friends, what they do? As friendly, as much favor as he had with him, what they do? They still put him to death.
That's what they did.
So why did the Most High say not to trust your enemy? Because he's going to appear friendly. Bobby would never, he loves black people. He loves us. He's on our side. Let's bring him to camp. He ain't like the rest. Let's bring him in the congregation like the other congregation, some of the other ones do. Nah. Bobby would put your ass to death. He would put your ass to death. He'd be your best friend for 20 years. Unless somebody's going to show where the Most High lies. So trust not your enemies. We see it here.
Come.
We see it here. They put on the act of, think about Daniel. Nebuchadnezzar loved Daniel. Nobody knows the story. Nebuchadnezzar, he thought Daniel was the ish. But once the people compelled him to put Daniel in the lion's den, what did he do?
Put him in the lion's
den. He put him in the lion's den. He gave in. Even went to the lion's den asking, Daniel, you okay? You all right? You still alive? And he was, but why? What was he even checking for? You put him in there. Don't come over here checking on me. Take me out. Let me out of it, if you such a friend. Never trust thine enemy. That's also what we see here with this story. But I digress. Elder, you want to go somewhere?
Revelation 2 and 10 goes right along with what they're bringing out. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Okay? Behold, the devil, right, shall cast some of you into prison. How about that now, right?
Yes, sir.
That ye may be tried. like the scripture says, we're going to be tried like gold is tried in the furnace. And like you said about Daniel, he actually went into pretty much like a furnace, right?
Yes.
And ye shall have tribulation 10 days, which is talking about the 10 persecutions that Israel went through from, I think, starting with Nero all the way up to Diocletian. Okay? Now, in history, you read, they would say Christian persecution, but we know who they're talking about, right? But always, I think, starting with Nero and all the Roman emperors, there was 10 of them. 10 tribulations that you read about in history that the Christians went through. And when I mean persecution, they went out to kill Negroes, Israelites, on a high level. They started maiming them and killing them. Some of the example of what you're reading here is what they were doing. Okay? So, I mean, you can read that when you go back into history. But that's what it means. You shall suffer tribulation in 10 days, meaning there were 10 persecutions. It wasn't 10 actual days, but it was 10 of them. Okay? Starting with Nero all the way up to around the 3rd century A.D. Come? Then it says, be thou faithful unto death. Just like they're bringing out about these Eleazar, the elder, and the seven men that the Most High chose. But they didn't touch the pork. They didn't want to bow down to no idol, nothing. And they took all that maiming, cutting their tongue out, dismembering them, everything. They took it. They hung them up. And they hung them up so that the congregation can see it. Israel can see it. But they still didn't give in. So now, bring up to date. So what about us today? Remember, the time of Jacob's trouble is on, coming, right? Some of these things is going to happen to us. Huh? So we got to be faithful unto death. So even if it's in the face of death, you still got to be faithful to the Most High. This is what the Most High want to see. Okay? And this is for all of us. This is what the Most High want to see. So some of you say, but I have faith. Yeah, but do you have this kind of faith? There's different levels of faith. So you have faith, but do you have, now can you raise your faith up to this level? Okay? That's the deal. That's what we're facing. Understand? Can you raise your faith up to what Yahushua did? Okay? Or how about even just the disciples went through? Because if he read what the disciples went through, right? Paul was beheaded. Y'all read about what Stephen went through, right? Stephen?
He got stoned.
Can you go through what Stephen went through? If our people want to stone you right now in the street, can you stay faithful unto that stoning? That's the kind of faith that what Mosiah is talking about. Right? And then, of course, that last part, and I will give thee a crown of life. And that's what Stephen got. Because what did Stephen see as they were stoning him?
Yahushua standing.
He's seeing Yahushua standing on the right hand of the Most High. The crown of life. So we got to come on that level too. But go ahead.
Hey, and this is also a reason why this book was taken. They took it out because you can't push the narrative of how none of this stuff matters when you got this sitting right in the middle of the book.
Right.
You can't. You don't want. They don't want us to know that to receive that crown of life, it ain't just saying Jesus Christ is my Savior and that's it.
Right.
They don't want us to see our example, like it just said. Eleazar left us an example. This elder and this family and many of our forefathers, mothers, they went and got the crown of life the way Christ said, what Christ is talking about. Suffering that tribulation and earning that, they knew about getting the crown of life. So they had to take this book out to keep the Negro asleep.
Yeah,
to help keep the Negro asleep. Because this crushes the doctrine of Christianity.
Cool.
It crushes it. You also you get even we ain't there, it's off topic, but even in Second Ezra, it crushes the doctrine because it shows that 144 they fulfilled the law. How can the law be done away with if the 144,000, that's what they fulfilled? They hold making it being sealed meant fulfilling the law. So now you see, Christ couldn't have fulfilled the law for everybody. Because the 144,000 he talks about in Revelation the last book, they had to fulfill the law of God. So, you know, did you have another point? We can get back.
Yeah, I was saying they took this out because by taking us out, they can't push the doctrine that Peter's dream said you can eat some swine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That too, exactly. You can eat swine, but our forefathers and mothers went through this in the face of death. I'm not eating it. See that? So this is the example we gotta follow, and this is, you know, it all ties together. What we read in Revelations, like the elder brought out, everything Christ was teaching, enduring to the end. These are some that Paul brought out, the sufferings. This is what it looks like at times. And we got to build ourselves up to that level of faith if we're not already there. That has to be the goal. That has to be your mind state. That's why you got to every day do this, to build and build. Just like somebody at the gym goes and builds and builds and builds until they get to that high level of you know, physical strength and appearance. But yeah, that's it. We can go back.
Verse 7, so when the first was dead, after this number, they brought the second to number, they brought the second to number to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? But he answered in his own language and said, no. Wherefore he also received the next torment in order as the former did. And when he said at the last gasp, he said, though like a fury taketh us out of this present life, but the King of the world shall raise us up, who have died for his laws unto everlasting life.
What the elder brought out. They knew about that crown. We're going to take this. This is going to be our crown right here. Go ahead.
After him was the third made a mocking stock. And when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon holding forth his hands manfully, and said courageously, these I had from heaven, and for his laws I despise them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Insomuch that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. Now, when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner. So when he was ready to die, he said thus, it is good being put to death by men to look for hope from God to be raised up again by him.
You hear what he said? I'm sorry, Doc. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
He said it's good to be put to death, to be raised up again by Yahweh. Death is a good thing, okay? Because of what we're going through to receive that crown, death is a good thing. Sometimes the Most High require that. Understand? You got to come on that level, man. Don't be fearful of death, because you know Yahweh can bring you back in a twinkling of an eye. Okay? So he said, death is good. Come on, bring it on. You know what I'm saying? And go ahead.
As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life.
Thou shalt have what?
No resurrection to life.
What's that talking about? They going to be resurrected again just to be put to death again.
Right.
Where's that at Revelation? What's it, 20? Second death?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well, I want to bring out the one in 20 and 4 anyway.
Oh, all right. Yeah. I'll read it.
Yeah. Because along with what Yakanan was reading, you marked down Revelation 20 and 4. You want to read it?
I'm going to read it. You ready?
Okay.
Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
So, are you gonna bow down and worship the image of the beast? No, you're not gonna do that. So that means what? You're liable to get what? Beheaded for the witness of Hamashiach Yahushua. Come. So we got to be prepared to come on that level, because if the beast, the Antichrist, come to you now, let's say in a week or two from now, right, and say, look, you got to bow down and eat that pork. You got to bow down to that idol. Now, I'm having everybody do that, and you got to do it too. Now what are you going to do? And if you don't do it, you're going to be beheaded. So just like the 7 brothers they're bringing out, and Eleazar, the elder, you got to say, no, I'm not doing it. Behead me then. See, that's the level you got to come on. That's the level that Yahushua is talking about. And these disciples were beheaded for the witness of Hamashiach Yahushua. Come, just like Stephen, the disciples, and so forth, right? And then you read about it. You read it in Revelation 5th chapter about they stood before the throne of the Most High, and they were questioning the Most High. Most High, how long is it going to be before we go back out there, down there and revenge our enemies? Remember that in Revelation the 6th chapter. I'm sorry, 6th chapter about during the 5th seal. I'm sorry, Revelation 6th chapter during the 5th seal. They were asking the Most High, how long are we going to be here and have to wait before we go down and send us back down into the earth to revenge our enemies? Those were the ones who were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, asking the Most High, how long, Most High? So they going to receive that crown. And then remember in Ezra, you read about the one that was taller amongst all the disciples. What was he putting on their heads? Crown. That crown of life, like the brothers are talking about, right? The scripture, that crown of life. So, like you said, David, they knew all about the crown. Solomon knew about the crown, right? These all people in the ancient time, they knew about the crown of life. Moses knew about the crown of life. Enoch, Shem, they all knew about the crown of Methuselah. They all knew about the crown of life. All of them. But what it takes to get there. Remember, narrow is the way that leadeth to the kingdom, man.
Con, also, when you were giving the story about your family member turning off the plate, that in that hour, that type of family member will point you out.
They would point, exactly, they would.
Oh, yeah.
To the beast.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because it tells you, your family members, some of them may give you up. They may give you up. Right? That's why the Most High not going to save everybody in your family. Because they're ready to give you up. But time, you'll see, time will tell. You'll see. But stand with Yahushua, man. That's the deal. Even unto death. I'm going to tell you something. Being beheaded, that's really actually a better way to go than the 7 that you read about. Being beheaded is quick and easy. You don't even feel that thing on it. Right? So the Most High, that's kind of merciful, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of merciful. But what they went through, shoot. Right? And some of us went through that, you know, in the regeneration. Some of us went through that. But what they went through, you don't want to go through that. Not what they went through, man. No. But that beheading, that's a merciful way because it's quick and easy. Yeah.
Can I get a precept?
Yeah.
Romans chapter 8, verse 18.
You want to read it?
Sure.
Yeah.
For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us.
Right.
So even though they was getting tortured, they know that the sufferings could not even compare.
Can't compare.
They're like, I take this joyfully.
I take this, right.
Maimed, cut, fried.
Right.
They stood their ground.
Stood their ground.
God, that's a lot of faith right there.
Right.
It's a whole lot of faith.
That's what the Most High want to see. He want to see, you know.
He want to see your faith.
He want to see your faith.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. He want to see your faith.
Yep.
Even if you're faced with death, you still have the faith to keep the commandments, right? To be obedient. Yep. The Most High want to see. Right? Okay, go ahead, Ak.
Yeah, and back to that Revelation, drop down to verse 13. Revelation 20 and 13 says, and the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Right. And that's what the young man just tell the Edomite. He said that you won't resurrect to life again. Because he's going to what? Resurrect to the lake of fire. He's going to resurrect again just to get put to death again.
God.
But he won't be resurrected to life. See, they understood these things. That's why they were able to laugh in the face of their tormentors.
Right.
That's why they were able to say, nah, I'll just take it. They most likely also knew there's no remembrance of the former things when you come back on this earth. So I'm going to go through this here, and guess what? When I come back, I ain't even going to remember it. It'll be as if it never happened. According to the word.
God.
It says, we have, anybody here remember their last life? How many you had? You might have been here.
That's been one of them.
Might have been one of them. Don't remember. So we got to always, that's your faith. That's why it's important to know the scriptures. It's important to put that time in so that you know these things. So they can be in the back of your mind when it's time to reason what to do. You got anything?
No.
All right, let's go back. Keep going.
Verse 16. Then looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou dost what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God. But abide a while, and behold, his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. After him also they brought the six, who being ready to die said, Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves.
Go back real quick. Slocky. Verse 17.
Verse 17. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed.
So what do they mean? What did Billy do today? What do they mean? Thy seed. Thy seed. So Billy didn't do nothing. But maybe he did.
I got a precept.
If Billy's part of that seed, he's going to torment him. That's why. Because the Most High, he don't forget. He saves the judgment. He chastens his sons. He saves that major judgment for not his sons. So it don't matter what Billy did today. Billy might have did something. Billy might have cast you in the torments in the year 300 AD. I mean, BC. We don't know. What you got?
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, 21 and 22.
Right.
Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise up, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant, and son and nephew, saith Yahweh.
Yeah, that's what it means by, that's a good scripture. That's what it means by seed. And then the one in Obadiah, the 10th verse, says, For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So when it says seed there, it means their children's 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 children, like you read in Isaiah 14:21. They're going to be cut off forever. So that's what, like Gamar is saying, that's what they were prophesying. As they were even being put to death, they were prophesying at the same time. Notice how each 700 brothers were prophesying just before they died? And then the next one came, the next one came, and they were prophesying something more and more and more devastating was going to happen to them, right? As they died.
Salakia even shows that they were studying the scriptures before them.
Right.
They was doing like Job 8 and 8 said they was acquiring before their age and preparing themselves to the search of their fathers. You know what I mean? As we should do. What was the verse you dropped to Obadiah?
That was Obadiah 10. 1 and 10, or there's only one chapter in Obadiah 10 verse. But that's something, man. So now you bring it to date, right? Do you have that kind of faith? What if all of a sudden the Antichrist come right now and want to, prove all to see if you're going to bow down to him? Are you capable? Do you have that faith in you to stand up and not subject yourself to them trying to force you to eat pork or bow down to idols, whatever? Same thing's going to happen in Jacob's trouble, man. Same thing's going to happen. Understand? Because what we're reading about, this is during the time of what, Antiochus? Right. Antiochus was a type of Antichrist during that time. So now this modern day, whoever the Antichrist is going to do the same thing. It's not going to change, bro. They coming after the Israelites. They coming after the children of Jacob. Yeah, go ahead.
Time frame here. What is the time frame between this right here and the time Paul came on the scene?
That was around 160 something, 164 BC, around that time.
How many centuries?
Well, he's talking about 164 BC. Paul was around
probably like
35.
30 something AD,
Yeah,
so-called AD, in the year CE. So
about 150 years, 170 years.
Yeah,
almost
something like that.
200.
Almost
200.
200 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Also, one way to also look at it, the same way that these torments is coming back to their seed. If we don't endure through these things, the most I can have is face it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing. You gotta think. If we fail this time, we might come back and have to face the same thing again. You don't know. But that's one way that you can look at it, because he's sure enough he's coming back on the seed of the wicked, right? And so, you gotta think like that.
They're gonna do something with those 30,000 guillotines that they got. They're gonna do something with them. They didn't just buy them for nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you might gotta face that.
Done.
Your friendly neighborhood black president set that up?
Yeah, he did. Obama did that.
Also during this time, they had a concept of Christianorum, meaning that the blood of the martyrs was the seeds of the saints.
Yeah.
And they had a problem with it because people were honored to die. It was almost like a suicide mission.
Really?
Because it would bring in the church.
Yeah, come.
So it had a direct opposite effect.
Right. How about that? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the second letter.
Verse 18. After him also they brought the six, who being ready to die said, "Be not deceived without cause, for we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our power. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. But think not thou that takest in hand to strive against Yahweh, that thou shalt escape unpunished. But the mother was marvelous above all, and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain, within the space of 1 day, she bare it with a good courage, because of the hope that she had in Yahweh. Yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, but doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake.
And you see, who says a woman can't teach?
Mm-hmm.
You got a mighty job to teach your sons and your daughters.
God.
And this could be you. And you got to stand firm to the laws of God as well, in the face of your own children being put to death. So you gotta ask yourself, can I be her? And if I can't, then I need to get to this level.
Exactly.
This is the example for you sisters in here. This is what we gotta be. It's not just the men. You see that?
And she suffered more than even the ones who are actually getting tormented.
Yeah.
Because she had to witness it all. Those were her children.
Nourish them.
Yeah, she nourished them from a baby on up. So she suffered more than them all. That's what the Most High said. She was more remarkable than all of them. You know, so that's an amazing thing, and she just suffered all that. So faith is the key. That is the way you overcome that, right? Faith, and you receive that crown of life. Go ahead, Up.
Go ahead.
Verse 24. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, whilst the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich and happy man, if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. But when the young man...
See, he's throwing it on now.
Throwing it on.
Not just you're going to save your life. But, all right, if you come on and eat this, come on and transgress the laws, I'm going to give you riches thing. They ain't doing what... Look, I'm going to up the ante for you. You done lost your brothers. Look, man. Come on. They already gave up their lives. Y'all proved your point. Just eat this food, and I'm going to give you riches too. Man, go ahead. What does he do?
But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him...
He said, la'ah. Like the other one said in his own language, he said la'ah. Go ahead.
But that reminds you, remember when the devil tempted Yahushua?
Exactly.
That's what it reminds you of, right? Because now he poured the temptation on heavy for the youngest one.
Yeah.
He figured the youngest one would just fall for it, be young, maybe not, don't have the mindset of the elder ones. Nah, he was even more stern than the rest of them, right? No. Got to do it, man. Go ahead, Doc.
But when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life.
It's a baby. It's the baby boy.
Right.
Look, I'll let him go. He lost all the other ones. Just go talk to him. Go talk. I'm gonna give him riches. You won't have to lose all your stuff.
Right.
I'll save your baby. I'll save your baby. You keep him. Go ahead.
Verse 26. And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she babbled herself toward him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner. O my son, have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee such 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured the troubles of education. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that Yahweh made them of things that were not. And so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this tormentor, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said...
she said that, what? Receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. She understood that you can get them back. She understood regeneration.
That's right.
We can come back. The Most High will send you back. She understood that if I do this thing, the Most High will give them back to me. The same way one of our forefathers, it was a little different. He took his own bowels out and threw them at Esau. And he said, I'm going to get these back. We got to understand that. This is just a vessel. The spirit, the soul is going to go on. The Most High, he'll give us another one. Them same children, he'll give them back. Remember Job. Remember Lot's wife. And remember Job. Remember that Lot's wife looked back. And what she do? Turned to salt. Remember Job, that he lost his children. But then the Most High did what? He gave them back tenfold. Y'all remember these things. Go ahead, finish this out, then we're going to go to 4th Mac.
Verse 30. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, whom wait for ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that has been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shalt not escape the hands of Yahweh. For we suffer because of our sins, and through the living power be angry with us a little while for our chastening and correction. Yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with certain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of Yahweh. For thou,
37.
verse 37, but I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching Yahweh that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that though torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is Yahweh, and that in me, my brethren, the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being enraged, handed him worse than all the rest, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled, and put his whole trust in Yahweh. Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feast,
The what?
the idolatrous feast, and the extreme tortures.
And what is it? 'Tis the season of what? These idolatrous feasts.
That's
because
right.
this feast that they was about to celebrate was the Saturnalia. We're coming up on the Saturnalia. We're coming up on that feast called Christmas today. From there, let's go into 4th Maccabees. I sent out the photos. I don't know if they came in clear or not yet. But if they didn't, then just kind of listen along. But if you got them and you can read along, we're at 4th Maccabees, chapter 2. Fourth Maccabees chapter 2, and we're going to read, this is a dissertation on devout reasoning. And the purpose of this 4th Maccabees, really, it goes into this account we just read in 2nd Maccabees. Except for once we get into the later chapters of 4th Maccabees, it kind of goes in depth with the dialogue that the mom was having, Eleazar was having, the sons was having, how they was telling the Antiochus to his face that they wasn't going to eat the swine, and they wasn't giving in. It kind of goes in depth. So if you got it, can read along. If not, just kind of listen. And we're going to obviously go into some scriptures as well. So if you're there, let's start at chapter 2, verse 1.
Salakia. The book of 4th Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1. And why is it amazing that the desires of the mind for the enjoyment of beauty are rendered powerless? It is for this reason, certainly, that the temperate Joseph is praised, because by mental effort he overcame sexual desire.
So if you remember the classes before, we kind of already went over Joseph and a couple of these examples. So we're not going to go back into that. We're going to just read through until we get up to about verse 22. But if you was here in class, you can remember we went through some examples, scriptures and all that. We already touched on that. Go ahead.
For when he was young and in his prime for intercourse, by his reason, he nullified the frenzy of the passions. Not only is reason proved to rule over the frenzied urge of sexual desire, but also over every desire. Thus the law says, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife or anything that is in your neighbor's. In fact, since the law has told us not to covet, I could prove to you all the more that reason is able to control desires.
So, and what we're learning is we can control ourselves. We can control everything that the flesh tries to fight against us. We have the ability, the Most High has given us the ability to conquer that. That's what we're really getting into with this devout reason. Go ahead.
So it is with emotions that hinder one from justice. Otherwise, how could it be that someone who is habitually a solitary gourmandizer, a glutton, or even a drunkard can learn a better way unless reason is clearly lord of the emotions? Thus, as soon as one adopts a way of life in accordance with the law, even though a lover of money, one is forced to act contrary to natural ways.
Real quick, Deuteronomy 6:25. As soon as one adopts a way, and so this is what the law was about. Adopting this way of life. When you adopt this way of life, you're able to conquer all the passions and the flesh that's always warring against the spirit. So that's another one that Christianity teaches that the law is done away with. How? Living a life according to the law is how you build up your spirit to fight your flesh. And Christianity is built around Paul, who said that there's always that battle of the flesh versus spirit. Deuteronomy 6:25.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 25. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahweh our power, as he hath commanded us.
You see that? So that's how you conquer the flesh. By that, the Most High gave us these commandments so that we can be like in his spirit, to be like according to him, to be like him, to have a mind like him, like David and others of our forefathers. This is how we conquer the flesh and the passions, by training up ourselves and acting according to these laws, and by applying these laws in our life. That's what we read in 4th Maccabees. We can go back now.
Verse 8. Thus, as soon as one adopts a way of life in accordance with the law, even though a lover of money, one is forced to act contrary to natural ways and to lend without interest to the needy and to cancel the debt when the 7th year arrives. If one is greedy, one is ruled by the law through reason, so that one neither gleans the harvest nor gathers the last grapes from the vineyard. In all other matters, we can recognize the reason rules the emotions, for the law prevails even over affection for parents, so that the virtue was not abandoned for their sakes. It is superior to love for one's wife, so that one rebukes her when she breaks the law.
This is good. We was talking about this earlier with the brothers that's still going over to the family households for the holidays. If they was really building themselves up in the law and using right reason, they wouldn't have been over there at the family's house for Thanksgiving. That's what building yourself up in this law gives you, that mind state where you're not about to fall into these things. You're not about to be deceived with your mom telling you, come on over, baby, I haven't seen you in a while. Come on over. Oh, no, Mom, I'm going to come next month. How about I come on a Wednesday? How about that? No. Oh, you're busy? Ah, okay. Go figure. Mom is busy on them days. Right? If she's trying, you got to use reason. The law is going to tell you, okay, well, you know, I love Mom, but we'll see each other when we see each other. Maybe it'll be on the other side. If that be the will of the Father, that be his will. I'm going to keep his laws. Go ahead.
Verse 12. It takes precedence over love for children so that one punishes them for misdeeds. It is sovereign over the relationship of friends so that one rebukes friends when they act wickedly. Do not consider it paradoxical when reason through the law can prevail even over enmity. The fruit trees of the enemy are not cut down, but one preserves the property of enemies from marauders and helps raise up what has fallen. It is evident that reason rules even the more violent emotions, lust for power, vainglory, boasting, arrogance, and malice. For the temperate mind repels all these malicious emotions, just as it repels anger, for it is sovereign over even this. Verse 17, when Moses was angry with Dathan and Abiram, he did nothing against them in anger, but controlled his anger by reason. For as I have said, the temperate mind is able to get the better of the emotions, to correct some, and to render others powerless. Why else did Jacob, our most wise father, censor the households of Simeon and Levi for their irrational slaughter of the entire tribe of the Shechemites, saying, "Cursed be their anger"? For if reason could not control anger, he would not have spoken thus. Now, when Yahweh fashioned human beings, he planted in them emotions and inclinations. But at the same time, he enthroned the mind among the senses as a sacred governor over them all.
See, that's so, because all these things, excuses. We got a million excuses for why we do things that's harmful to our brother or against our brother or sister. But there's an excuse. The Most High gave us the ability to keep the temperance, to not fall into these emotions. From there, let's go to 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. Because what we just read, it said that God fashioned human beings, and God planted these things in us. God planted the emotions in you. God planted the inclinations in you. Because if you didn't have emotions and inclinations, you would actually be like a robot. But the thing is, he didn't implant these things in us that they control us. He implanted them that we're supposed to control them. So we're supposed to control how we act when we get angry. We're supposed to control how we act when we get sad or fearful or offended. It's not an excuse to go off. It's not an excuse to offend my brother or my sister because they offended me, because I feel some type of way, because I'm having a bad day. The Most High put these emotions in us, and he put something in you that you can control that. You there?
10:13.
10:13.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There have no temptation taking you but such as is common to man. But Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
You see that? Ephesians 5 and 26 to 27. The Most High is faithful. He doesn't suffer us to be tempted above what we're able. So when you think about acting not according to what he said and how to treat each other or how to carry yourself because you're feeling some type of way, you're feeling bad today, maybe it's that time of the month, maybe, whatever. You've been having a bad month, somebody offended you. We can't use these things as an excuse to go off and not act according to the way that the Most High said that we're to act and carry ourselves. This is right reason. Go ahead.
Verse 26.
Verse 26.
The book of Ephesians chapter 5, verse 26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word.
It all goes back to the word. Eating and digesting this word is going to cleanse you. It's going to cleanse your mind. That's how you're going to cleanse your mind. That's how you're going to transform your mind. To not give in to your emotions. Not give in to your inclinations. And to do things that aren't according to the way the Most High laid them down. Go ahead.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish.
You see that? That's what the word does. That's what That's what adopting a way of life according to the law, that's what it does to you. And adopting a way of life, that means we're doing it every day. We're not taking days off. This has to become natural. To think like the Most High has to become natural. To act out this word has to become natural. How does that happen? By practice, by use. Every day. Go back to verse 23. 4th Maccabees chapter 2.
4th Maccabees chapter 2 verse 23. To the mind he gave the law, and one who lives subject to this will rule a kingdom that is temperate, just, good, and courageous.
And who's that? Who did that? David did that. That's why from there, let's go to 119:9. It says that to the mind he gave the law. That's what we was just talking about. The word cleanses you, right? And one who lives subject to this will rule a kingdom that is temperate, just, good, and courageous. While you get that, I'm going to also get Sirach chapter 10, verse 9. No, that ain't it. What's like the king is so people? Sirach 10 and 2. You was 119?
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, Sirach chapter 10, verse 2. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. You see that? So the way you reason and the way you act and the way you deal with things, that's how the people under you are going to deal with things.
Good.
If you can't control your anger, your kids can't control your anger. If you can't keep temperance, your kids can't keep temperance. If you can't keep attention in class, your kids can't keep attention in class. How the judge is, so will be the people. So you have to be that example. You have to mold your mind and cleanse your mind with the word. Act according to the laws. And then you'll have a kingdom the same way. Read that out.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 9. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his ways?
How's a young man? How you cleanse your ways? We'll tell you. Go ahead.
By taking heed thereto according to thy word.
Taking heed to what?
According to thy word.
So what does that mean? That means not holding grudges. Payback. You got me, I gotta get you back.
Gotta get your lick back, huh?
You offended me, I gotta tell you about yourself. CJ, you no.
His mama joke was better than yours?
Yeah. You know? Cleanse your ways. Cleanse your ways. Take heed to the word. The word says that if my brother offended me, that I go tell him his fault. And then if he don't hear me, I still don't get offended. If he don't hear me, what do I do? Young men, what do I do if I tell my brother his fault is offense toward me and he doesn't want to hear it? What do I do next? Young man, what do I do next?
Yeah, gather more witnesses out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every matter be established.
And take it to what? The judge and elder. See, that's how we deal. That's how the Most High has made us kings and priests. You got to think, how would a king deal in this situation? How would a priest deal in this situation? And I'm just calling y'all out, but that's for everybody. Whatever the situation is, how would a king, how would David deal with this situation? Because what happened to David when he was cursed and had stuff thrown at him while he's on the run from his own son?
He behaved wisely.
He behaved wisely. And what he say about being cursed by the Benjamite brother? He said, I basically paraphrasing, I accepted maybe the Most High would see me taking this and he'll count it as, he'll basically forgive me for the wrongs I've done. Maybe he'll see that I'm just taking this and I'm not getting back at it. That's how you cleanse your ways. Taking heed to this word. Go ahead. Verse 9 or wherever.
Verse 10. With my whole heart have I sought thee. O let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. Bless
thy word have I what?
Hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee.
How do you hide the word in your heart? Who knows? How do you hide the word in your heart?
By remembering.
By remembering, right. So how do you remember it? How do you get the word to be in the back of your mind, hidden in your heart? Every day. Right, somebody said read. You have to be in it every day.
You know what else you can do?
What else?
Grab a hold of your fringes. They help you remember the commandments. Grab a hold of them. They help. That's what they're there for. So that you remember the laws, statutes, and commandments. When you about to flip out or whatever, I had to do it sometimes at work. I deal with some unruly women. You know, they don't want to listen to a black man. They rather listen to Esau. You know, they in the feminist movement. They think they can do everything without a man except lift the trash. You know, grab your fringes and remember to love your brothers and sisters.
But I like that. Because some cats, they be like, what do you need the fringes for? It's in the laws in my heart.
Man, sometimes
in case you forget.
I find myself grabbing my fringes at work. I was like, man, these people great make me flip out, man. I start praying. Like they make you remember that law. It starts to calm you down. I start playing with these fringes, man.
Exactly. Because you know what they're there for.
Yeah.
It's going to remind you.
To keep the law.
It's going to remind you.
Not to have a grudge against your brother or sister.
I'm tripping right now.
Yeah. You can't render evil for evil. Yeah, I mean, vengeance is the most high. You just start to meditate on all the scriptures. As soon as you grab that fringe, it brings you right back to that.
Exactly.
At least it do it for me.
Somebody at my job asked me. They don't know me from can of paste. Just walked up on me. It's like, what are you, what commandment are you not going to, something like that. What commandment do you need those for? I said, whichever one I'm about to forget. It's that simple. Whichever one I'm about to forget. You simple as hell asking me what I need them for, trying to be smart. You need them. You up in here, it's a woman in a damn tracksuit. Like you look like, look like you dressed like Jerome. And you got,
oh my God.
You got dreads like a damn Haitian ZZ. You know, in case I forget one, that's what I need it for. Let's go.
Verse 24?
No,
we on Psalm 119.
Going down to 15.
And I saw heaven open, and I behold a white horse. And he that, Salaki. You went down to 15 and down to 15 on there.
Salaki. Oh, my bad, 12. Verse 12?
Verse 12. Yeah. Blessed art thou, O Yahweh, teach me thy statutes.
Now Revelation chapter 2, verse 26. Revelation chapter 2, verse 26.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my word unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
He did what?
He that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
You see that? How do we get a crown? How do we rule a kingdom? How do we get put back in our rightful place? By molding our mind and acting this word out every day, even in the face of death. By our reasoning being according to this word. And how do we get to that level? We talked about it earlier real quick. You get Revelation 19, verse 11. But real quick, I'm going to read 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12 and down. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12 and down. And it goes, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers What we were just reading about Eleazar and the 7 sons and the woman, they were an example, right? It was a mighty example of believers. In word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. How do we get to that level? Verse 13. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery. You see that? Neglect not the gift that was given thee. Give attendance to reading every day. This is how we mold our mind. And neglect not, it's a gift. Neglect not the gift. Where can we go to see that? Let's go to Psalm 65 and 4 real quick. Then I want to go to where you're at. But it says, neglect not the gift. Give attendance to reading. How do we not neglect the gift we was given by the Most High? By giving attendance to reading. That's what the scriptures say. Cool. How do you mold your mind and your reasoning? By not neglecting your gift. Psalm 65 and 4. And I'll read it. Psalm 65:4. Blessed is the man whom thou choosest, and causest to approach unto thee, that he may dwell in thy courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of thy house, even of thy holy temple. So if you was given this gift, the Most High brought you in. If you had that, it was given that spirit and got that unction to get in this book and actually follow the ways that's in this book, and not to follow the way that the world goes, and the holidays they follow, the things they believe, the actions that they take every day, how they carry themselves. That was the Most High bringing you into this. And he's saying not to neglect that. Don't neglect that. Give yourself to reading. Until I come. So if Christ ain't here, we need to be in this. You need to be eating it every day. Revelation. Every day you got to be in this word. That's how you mold your mind. That's how you mold your reasoning.
The book of Revelation, chapter 19:12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. And his name is called the Word of Yahweh.
Go ahead. Read down to 15.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the wine presses of the fierceness and wrath of Almighty Yahweh. And he had in his vesture...
That's it. That's enough on that. But they said they came in fine linen, white and clean. That means they was clean. They had cleaned their ways. They had cleaned their mind. They had fixed their reasoning from the reasoning of the world, the way the world reasons, and they were reasoning according to this word.
Okay.
Right? Back to 4th Maccabees.
4th Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 24. How is it then, one might say, that if reason is master of the emotions, it does not control forgetfulness and ignorance? That's it.
Go ahead. Verse chapter 3.
Chapter 3, verse 1. But this argument is entirely ridiculous, for it is evident that reason rules not over its own emotions, but over those of the body. No one of us can eradicate that kind of desire, but reason can provide a way for us not to be enslaved by desire.
See that? You can't eradicate the inclinations. You can't eradicate the emotions. You can't eradicate anger, malice, none of these things. You control it by your reason, by right reason. Then from there, go to Romans 7:22.
book of Romans, chapter 7, verse 22. For I delight in the law of Yahweh after the inward man.
Go ahead.
But I see another law in my members warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members.
See that? That's what we're reading about in 4th Maccabees. Go ahead.
O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death? I thank Yahweh through Hamashiach Yahushai our Adawan. So then, with the mind, I myself serve the law of Yahweh, but with the flesh, the law of sin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that's it. So 2nd Ezra 7:56. Paul's talking about the same thing. The same thing that we're reading in 4th Maccabees, Paul's talking about the same thing. There's always that battle. It's always that battle. But the Most High gave you the mind that you can conquer the flesh and that you can perform right reason. That you don't got to fall into the ways of the flesh. It's a battle that we always put here to fight. Every man's put here to fight that battle between the flesh and spirit.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 56. For while we lived and committed iniquity, we considered not that we should begin to suffer for it after death. Then answered he me, and said, This is the condition of the battle, which man that is born upon the earth shall fight. That if he be overcome, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. For
see that every man got that battle to fight. Every man got the battle to fight to put off their emotions and inclinations and flesh. Go ahead.
For this is the life, Salakia, that if he overcometh, he shall suffer as thou hast said. But if he get the victory, he shall receive the thing that I say. For this is the life thereof Moses spake unto the people while he lived, saying, Choose thee life that thou mayest live. Nevertheless, they believed not him, nor yet the prophets after him. No, nor me, which hath spoken unto them, that there should not be such heaviness in their destruction as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation. I answered
61 again.
That they should not be such heaviness in their destruction as shall be joy over them that are persuaded to salvation.
God. Go back, drop that back to 4th Mac. 4th Mac. So it's always that battle, but the Most High, he gave you the ability to conquer the flesh. 4th Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 4. Oh. Where you looking?
3rd Maccabees.
3. 4th Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 3.
The book of 3rd Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 3. No one of us can eradicate anger from the mind, but reason can help to deal with an anger. No one of us can eradicate malice, but reason can fight at our side so that we are not overcome by malice. For reason does not uproot the emotions, but is their antagonist. Now, this can be explained more clearly by the story of King David's thirst. David had been attacking the Philistines all day long, and together with the soldiers of his nation had killed many of them. Then, when evening fell, he came sweating and quite exhausted to the royal tent, around which the whole army of our ancestors had encamped. Now all the rest were at supper, but the king was extremely thirsty, and though springs were plentiful there, he could not satisfy his thirst from them. But a certain irrational desire for the water in the enemy's territory tormented and inflamed him, undid and consumed him. When his guards complained bitterly because of the king's craving, 2 staunch young soldiers, respecting the king's desire, armed themselves fully and taking a pitcher, climbed over the enemy's ramparts, eluding the sentinels at the gates. They went searching throughout the enemy camp and found the spring, and from it boldly brought the king a drink. But David, though he was burning with thirst, considered it as altogether filled for danger to his soul to drink what was regarded as equivalent to blood. Therefore, opposing reason to desire, he poured out the drink as an offering to Yahweh. For the temperate mind can conquer the drives of the emotions and quench the flames of frenzied desires. It can overthrow bodily agonies, even when they are extreme, and by nobility of reason spurn all domination by emotions. The present occasion now invites us to a narrative demonstration to temperate reason, at a time when our ancestors were enjoying profound peace because of the observance of the law, and were prospering, so that
now we're going into the times that led up to the Feast of Dedication, Feast of Hanukkah, right? Go ahead.
At a time when our ancestors were enjoying profound peace because of their observance of the law, and were prospering, so that 7 Seleucus Nicanor, king of Asia, had both appropriated money to them for the temple service and recognized their commonwealth.
Even what's that remind us of? He that pleaseth the Most High, even his enemies will be at peace with him. This is what comes from keeping the commandments of the Most High. This is when the whole nation, we all keep the commandments of the Most High. The Most High has put it where the nations are at peace with us. The heathens might want to give you stuff. The heathens might want to throw you a car or something. I don't know. I heard somebody heathen gave an elder a car. These things happen. I'm just to show that's what it's talking about. When you please the Most High, it make even your enemies be at peace with you. That's what was going on in the time before. Before the Feast of Dedication, there was a time of peace where things were prosperous. And then, the devil came in, and a whole lot of things we're going to read into next week. But because of keeping the laws, it says that it was a time of prospering. Right? Keep going.
It's like just at that time, certain persons attempted a revolution against the public harmony and caused many and various disasters.
This also what happened when the Christ resisted the devil and the devil fled from him? It said what? It said he fled for a season. You see that? So we was living in a time of peace at one point. Just like always, it would be a time of peace, it would be a time of prosperity, it would go off, it would get right, it would go off. Even back then, there was a time of peace. And then this happened. Go ahead.
Now, there was a certain Simon.
Drop that. So, let's go to 2 Maccabees 3:1, get the account from there. And then we're going to close out for this week's class. Leave off right there.
The book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well, because of the godliness of Onias the high priest and his hatred of wickedness.
You see, and this is the power of being an example. You can be an example to godliness or an example to ungodliness. And so because this high priest was in the righteous spirit, in my state, the rest of everybody else fell in line behind him. That's the power you have by setting the example. Go ahead.
It came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place, and magnify the temple with their best gifts, insomuch that Seleucus of Asia, of his own revenues, bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices. But one Simon of the tribe of Benjamin, who was made governor of the temple, fell out with the high priest about disorder in the city.
So we can pause there, right? We can pause right there. No, read down one more.
And when he could not overcome Onias, he gat him to Apollonius, the son of Thracius, who then was governor of Celesyria.
So you see, this is going into, this is an example of what happens when you let a covetous spirit take hold of you. When you let your emotions and your inclinations take control of your actions. You get covetous, and then you become an enemy to your own people.
Good.
And you switch to the side of those that is ready to really kill them and you at the end of the day. Because the Most High said, we talked about it earlier, never trust your enemy. Your enemy will be friend with you for a time, but then he'll throw you into the torments as well, right along with everybody else. But because of letting unclean spirits take over your mind and not casting them off, this is exactly what happens. Your whole nation is at peace, but because you covet a position and you covet power and you're envious of your brother and coveting things that he has, you're breaking the 10th commandment. Now he's about to send the nation into a downfall, right?
Okay.
Because of this man's covetousness. And he didn't reason to cast that off in his mind and to think about the Most High and to think about his nation and basically anybody but himself. And what we read, one of the outcomes of that one action, being in that mind state and carrying that out, one of the results is what we read earlier. Eleazar, the 7 sons. Because Antiochus that was doing that is a descendant of the ruler Seleucus that's in this time here. Right? So we got Hanukkah coming up. We're going to continue on this next week, trying to get it more into the occurrences that led us up to Hanukkah and why we celebrate it, right?
Good.
We're going to end the class on that note for this week. You want to do the closing?
We are Hebrew Chosen Elect. We fellowship here from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays at Rose Hill Community Center, 19 Lamson Lane, Newcastle, Delaware. If you want to come fellowship with us, you're welcome. If you would like to give any alms or free will offers, you can give at Cash App, # Hebrew Chosen Elect. And we also have an upcoming coat drive on December 16th. If you'd like to give any monetary donations, it's 16th. On December 16th, if you'd like to give any monetary donations, you can give at BDanny01. That's BDANIE01 at Cash App. Earmark it. Coat drive. If you have any slightly worn or used coats that you'd like to donate, you can also give slightly worn used coats, and you can donate. You can reach out to me, and I'll tell you if any brother you can give them to, or you can come deliver them to myself. And we're also going to have our upcoming Hanukkah feast here on December 8th from 12 to 6 p.m. And if you're interested in joining us, we're going to have a potluck. Everybody bring a dish. Hopefully we're able to get some lamb, and enjoy each other's company and have some wine, And with that, we'll say, Hum Yashala! Hum Yashala! Hum Yashala! Hashem Yahushua! All praises.